I'm Natividad at Bathurst Lawrence outside of Immigration Minister Marco Mendicino's office, where protesters have gathered demanding more rights and protections for Canada's migrant workers. Blanketing the windows with posters, writing messages on the sidewalk. Dozens of protesters made up of migrant workers, advocates and allies are reclaiming the office of the Minister for Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship.
Migrants are here and we are working hard. We are contributing to the economy of the country. And what do we get in return? This is tantamount to slavery.
Kim Smith is a migrant childcare worker from Grenada. She's been working in Canada for 3 years, sending money back home to support her 3 children. She says in April she fell ill, and even though it wasn't with COVID-19, her employer fired her immediately, leaving her vulnerable with few places to turn to for help.
It was after 10 in the morning. They said to me, "You are not to spend one more night here," all because I was sick and I could not work. Now, I was so humiliated, I had to make 5 phone calls before someone could come and pick me up from the street, sick in my pajamas.
Today's demonstration was organized by the Migrant Workers Alliance for Change and coincides with simultaneous protests in Richmond, BC and Montreal, Quebec. The advocacy group has long been pushing the federal government to grant permanent residency status upon arrival to all migrant workers. They say now more than ever, the flaws in the system have been magnified by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Today, 1 in 23 people in the country don't have permanent resident status, and that means they don't have access to basic health care, labor rights. They pay high tuition at institutions and for healthcare. And in the context of COVID-19, many people are suffering. They can't get federal income support. They can't get basic protections.
Last month, the MWAC released a report outlining some of the complaints they've received on a single hotline set up for migrant workers. Shocking allegations of poor living conditions and abusive treatment. And they say most are too afraid to speak up for fear of losing their jobs. A quote from one farm worker reads, "With the delay in other workers arriving, we are working 9 hours a day, 7 days a week. We only rest when it rains. No one complains because our families need the money." And this quote from a Caribbean worker, "These people are cruel and I'm tired of them. They have no heart for black people. They use us like slaves. I tried getting away from this farm for a very long time and I cannot." In Ontario alone, the group says more than 1,000 migrant farm workers have been infected by the virus. At least 3 have died. Those names were read aloud at today's demonstration for a moment of silence.
Juan López Chaparro, Bonifacio Eugenio Romero, y Rogelio Santos Muñoz.
When you talk about your food, from the person who grows it, to the one who washes it, to packages it, to the one who drives it to the grocery store, to the undocumented woman who comes at night to clean that store, the people who are literally sustaining all of us are migrant and undocumented people, but they're denied the basic rights to healthcare, labor, to be with their families, to have decent work, and that's just not right. We need permanent resident status for all.
In Toronto, Natividad, City News.